It's time for a RAW review, and I must say I was impressed by Bob Barker to start with. He did very good for someone whom I believe have not been that much into wrestling business, watching wrestling or being a part of wrestling himself. I think he did good, and he seemed kind of familiar with the environment. He knew what to say, he didn't screw up, and he was right on point. He kind of funny, pulling off jokes against Chris Jericho, who won a SmackDown DVD for $1. Hilarious to see IRS again talking about the importance and dividends of taxes. That was a very great flashback for me 15 years back to the 90s, where IRS was a main character in WWE. However, I think there was a little too much about Bob Barker. It became obvious during the body slam contest he really didn't know what to say. I believe it seemed like he screwed up, and it became quite apparent that he didn't know really what a body slam was. Big Show body slammed Santino Marella in a body slam contest, and Bob Barker kept asking who won, who won. I don't see what the referee is saying. Who won? But other than that, he did good, and they also promoted his new book, Priceless Memories, parallel to the show that he hosted for quite some time, The Price is Right. And they did have a contest, as I said, from this show throughout the night 2 times. Good show, as I said. Bob Barker impressed. And it was a really jammed show. We had a lot of matches going on, a lot of segments being booked, and once again Chris Jericho wrestled MVP in a match. This match was a very good match, not as good as last week's match. That was a great match, back and forth, unpredictable. This was very unpredictable too. I thought Chris Jericho had him a couple of times. I thought MVP had Chris Jericho a couple of times. Good unpredictable action, back and forth, as I said. However, the finish to me was a little weak after going back and forth so much, kicking out of inside cradles and near falls and lockups. I think they should have booked for a more powerful ending. It was great with the type of ending, surprise victory, kind of catching Jericho by surprise, holding him up 1, 2, 3. He wasn't able to break the hold, but still it looked kind of weak. That was bothered me. And I hope for Jericho to win. Of course, he wouldn't win 2 in a row. That would make MVP Mark Henry look all too weak. Going into the match, Mark Henry also defeated Big Show in a body slam contest. We had the whole Raw actually was in the format of a game show. Shawn Michaels and Triple H DX had to push a button in order to see what tag team they were going to face. It became Chris Masters and Randy Orton in a match that was also quite good. I liked the ending segment where they just you really didn't know when the show was going to end. You had Triple H, Shawn Michaels winning via submission. Triple H teased the Montreal Screwjob by applying the sharpshooter. And this, as I said before, this is the first pay-per-view they've had in Montreal, the Bell Center, formerly known as Molson Center, since the Montreal Screwjob in November 1997. That was Survivor Series that year. So it's a return, and you all know Shawn Michaels won via a sharpshooter there against Bret Hart. Bret Hart's own finishing maneuver. Bret Hart never tapped out, but Earl Hebner, referee, indicated he did. So we got screwed there, and they're teasing it. However, the match itself, not kind of good. However, the aftermath of the match was, as I was about to speak out, was cool. Fighting in the back, you never knew when it was going to end. The only thing that bothered me there was it was an all-out fight, but it more looked like, I think that was the purpose, an all-out fight, but it more looked like DX kicking Legacy's asses. And I think it would have been cooler to have it back and forth more and more. Teddy DiBiase had somewhat of a comeback, but he was soon countered. Triple H dominated Teddy DiBiase, so the Cody Rhodes, Shawn Michaels battle, more kind of back and forth, rolling around, fighting. Triple H a little too dominant here, which was not. It made Legacy look weak, I think. Also the way they had them run off, I thought very well. Legacy could run off, but they should have gotten a blow into DX before doing so. So that's what I have to argue somewhat about the show. A lot of people have also said that they think there has been too little of confrontation between Randy Orton and John Cena. Now we got it in the finals of this episode of Raw, where Randy Orton finally hit the second rope DDT on John Cena and gave him an RKO onto a chair, a move where you really didn't know whether John Cena was going to counter or not. However, I believe it's good that WWE has not made it such a personal rivalry, because the match at SummerSlam, it was never booked from a personal rivalry standpoint. It was John Cena winning a beat the clock contest, and that's all it was. He won a contest to face John Cena, to face Randy Orton at SummerSlam, and the prize is the title. There was no need. You don't have to have a feud every time someone is facing someone for a title. It doesn't need to be a feud. You could have a natural #1 contender who has earned the spot. And well, they can tell him, well, you are the greatest right now. Second to the champion, you should have the chance to get a title. You don't need a personal rivalry. You could only have these two big wrestlers facing each other for the title, and the title is enough. The tension building up, who is the better wrestler of these two, and that's what they have done right now. Now you had this feud where it boiled over at Raw last night, but that's all there is to it. The championship is the richest prize, and they have focused more on building up the two athletes of Randy Orton and John Cena, as two towers are gonna collide, and who is the better man, something we didn't get the answer to at SummerSlam, a match at SummerSlam that also reflected what I'm talking about. You had this utmost fight where they gave it their all. They tried to overcome each other. You had this desperate feeling about the match. Orton was desperate trying to get out. Cena was desperate trying to win the match, and it was an all-out war. And you had the match restarted because they did everything they could in order to get away with a win or the title from that match. It was all about the title, as Orton tried to escape with the title, Cena tried to win the title. So that's where the focal point has been right now, about the title. So you don't need this heated up feud or hater between these two wrestlers. Of course in the final end it's gonna boil over, which it did. So that's my point on that. Next week's Raw is gonna, as I said, we're gonna have Trish Stratus as a special guest host. I'm looking forward to that. I have a video where I presented that 2 weeks ago. And we're also gonna have WWE.com has made it official that Batista is gonna be on the show for a possible career-altering announcement. You don't know what they mean by that. It could be, well, but it could be that they mean, well, Batista is gonna be here. He has an announcement, and that announcement can be career-altering. It could also be that Batista is gonna hear, and well, maybe he has an announcement that is career-altering. So it could indicate that they know that he has an announcement, or that he might have an announcement just for showing up. Regarding these announcements, I've also got some suggestions from you people on what that announcement might be, but I once again urge you to have that discussion under my video here instead of PMing me about it, because it could be whatever. It could be, you never know what. WWE could have one suggestion is going to be right now, the announcement. They can change it 5 minutes before he goes out and do it. So we don't know. So have the discussion on what he's going to say, and if he's even going to have an announcement in my video. Thanks a lot for watching my video, and be sure to check out my breaking point predictions coming right up. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.